somewhere beneath the Mediterranean Sea, sitting less than 20 feet below the surface. Close enough that a kid with a snorkel could theoretically reach it, is a ship that last touched open water before the Roman Empire existed. The pyramids were already ancient history. Rome was still just a hill with a handful of farmers on it. And somewhere off the coast of Sicily, a crew of sailors loaded their vessel, pushed out to sea, and never came back. For 25 centuries, that ship waited, buried, silent, forgotten. The ocean is not just water, it is the largest archive on the planet. A pressurized vault that has been collecting human history for thousands of years. And today, with technology that would have looked like pure sorcery to the people who built these ships, we are finally cracking it open. This is the story of 5 of the most extraordinary shipwrecks ever pulled from the deep. Some were found by scientists with million-dollar equipment. One was spotted by a 5-year-old girl on a fishing trip with her dad. All of them carry a message from a world that no longer exists. Let's go find them. The Sicily Ship is the one that opens this whole story. The wreck, hiding in plain sight, just 20 feet down. And here's what makes the discovery almost absurd. 20 feet is nothing. This is well-traveled water that people have been swimming and sailing through for generations. And yet for 2,500 years, nobody found it because it didn't look like a ship anymore. Over time, storms rolled in, currents shifted, layers of sand crept over the hull until it became completely indistinguishable from the seafloor. To any diver passing above, it would have looked like just another ridge of rock. Nothing worth stopping for. The only reason it was finally found is high-end sonar technology. Researchers scanned the seafloor looking for straight lines and geometric patterns, shapes that nature simply doesn't produce on its own. And there it was, a ghost ship outlined in shadow. The vessel dates back to the 5th or 6th century BCE, a time when Sicily was one of the most strategically contested pieces of land in the ancient world. The Mediterranean was the world's superhighway, and Sicily was the toll booth. The Greeks were pushing in from the east, the Carthaginians from North Africa were pressing in from the west. Whoever controlled Sicily controlled the trade routes, and for 3.5 centuries, these two civilizations competed for exactly that. Our mystery ship sailed right into the middle of all of it. Archaeologists still don't know what it was. Warship, merchant vessel, something else entirely. The wood has degraded so completely, they can't even identify the species it was built from. But they did find one remarkable clue in the construction itself. The hull was built using an ancient shell-first technique, where the outer planks were joined edge to edge first, like a 3-dimensional puzzle, and the internal frame was added afterward. This method was used only briefly in Greek shipbuilding history, which means this wreck is a snapshot of a moment in maritime engineering that almost no other surviving ship represents. Now let's cross the Mediterranean to Spain, where a different ancient ship waited, not quite as patiently. Off the coast of Murcia, archaeologists discovered a 2,600-year-old Phoenician trading vessel known as the Mazarrón II. It was first spotted in the 1990s, and instead of pulling it up immediately, the team made the deliberate decision to leave it. Wood that's been underwater for 2.5 millennia is essentially waterlogged pulp, held together by memory. Move it wrong, and it turns to dust. So they watched and waited. That strategy worked until shifting sands began exposing the hull to open currents. The protective blanket was gone. The clock started ticking. The team moved in and lifted the ship plank by plank, like surgeons, like paleontologists, freeing a skeleton from rock, and brought it ashore to be reassembled. What they saved is extraordinary. Unlike most wrecks of comparable age, the Mazarrón II survived nearly intact from bow to stern. A complete ancient vessel, a Phoenician ship, whole. The Phoenicians were the unsung titans of the ancient world. Long before Rome, these seafarers were charting routes nobody else dared to sail. Trading cedar wood from Lebanon, glass, olive oil, and their most coveted commodity, a deep purple dye, so expensive only royalty could afford to wear it. They may have been the first to navigate by the North Star, crossing open water at night when everyone else hugged the coastline out of fear. The Mazarrón, too, is a direct physical connection to all of that. Now we leave the Mediterranean entirely and head to the coast of Kenya, where the Indian Ocean swallows the horizon. Here, beneath a coral reef, divers may have found something historians have been searching for across 5 centuries: a ship tied to Vasco da Gama. In 1498, this Portuguese explorer became the first European to reach India by sea. That single journey rewrote the global economy, opened the spice trade, and made Portugal one of the most powerful nations on earth. The wreck found off Kenya is believed to be part of da Gama's final fleet, a ship that historical records describe going down in a storm off this exact coastline. The artifacts recovered, cannons, anchors, navigational equipment, all match the era. If confirmed, it would be one of only a tiny handful of Portuguese ships from that golden age of exploration, still resting anywhere in the Indian Ocean. Like finding a missing chapter in a book you thought you'd already finished. The researchers' plan? Don't raise it. Turn it into an underwater museum, a permanent dive site where people can move through history in the silence of the sea. Now, if you've been thinking that discoveries like these only happen to scientists with research vessels and robotic submarines, let me stop you, because this next one was found by a dad and his 5-year-old daughter on a fishing trip in Wisconsin. The sonar on their boat picked up something angular on the lake bed, a shape that didn't belong. What they'd found is believed to be the George L. Newman, a wooden schooner that vanished in 1871 and hadn't been seen since. The ship went down during the Peshtigo Fire, the deadliest wildfire in American history. But almost no one knows about it because it happened on the exact same night as the Great Chicago Fire, which grabbed every headline and never let go. The Newman sank in the smoke of a forgotten disaster, and then it too was forgotten for over 150 years, until the sand shifted, until a little girl went fishing with her dad, and now the oldest. Near the Greek island of Dokos, divers in the 1970s found the seafloor scattered with hundreds of clay pots and storage jars. The dating put them at somewhere between 2,700 and 2,200 BCE. This ship was sailing the Aegean, while workers were still building the pyramids at Giza. The wooden hull is long gone. The sea doesn't preserve wood that old. But the cargo survived because ceramics survive almost anything. And alongside the pottery, archaeologists found stone anchors and millstones, proof of an established trade network, of regular maritime routes, of people who had decided that the sea was not an obstacle, but a road. It's not treasure in any conventional sense, but in terms of what it tells us about who we are and how long we've been doing this, it's priceless. Every one of these ships was lost. They sank in storms, in smoke, in the chaos of ancient battles, or the simple bad luck of a sandbar at night. The people aboard them weren't thinking about history. They were thinking about survival, about getting home. And yet, the ocean held onto all of it. With today's underwater robots and deep scanning technology, we're only beginning to understand what that archive actually contains. There could be thousands of ships still down there, each one a sealed letter from a civilization that no longer exists, waiting to be opened. The question isn't whether there's more history beneath the waves. The question is, what will we find next?